Right, you're looking at the browser screen for lack of a better name for it, AssetWorks Mobile. It's the use of the AssetWorks API to do asset tracking with RFID and barcodes on any platform that has a more modern browser capability to it, right? And we can use it with any RFID handheld device that can be put in keyboard emulation mode. In this video, we're just going to be talking about um, the layout of this page to give you some general understanding of where to search for certain things, and then we'll continue with other videos for the specific tasks of inventory procedures and tag searching procedures. Okay, so here we are. It's a browser page. And at the bottom, we're going to have our version. So if customers want to know if they are up to date, they can always look at the footer of the page and they'll see that there. Again, remember, it is a browser. So if you see it on an iPad or you rotate your device, you might actually see these tab options out here in this fashion. And if it's in the portrait format of an Android device or iOS device, you'll see this format, but that little hamburger menu gives you the same access to the same tabs as you would in the desktop mode. Okay, so let's go back to the asset list. This is where we're going to spend most of our time functionality wise. There's always a setup cog up here, and you notice we've got a certain number of columns. You can change that very quickly by going down here and adding something or taking away other things. It doesn't really matter what you end up wanting for your interface because everybody's a little different and deserves to be able to set up their screen the way they want. This way, everybody's using their own reader is going to be able to control their own environment how they want it. You also still, because it's an Android device, you have the ability to do touch pinch and zoom out. So you can do that if you want, but it's far more common that people will just set up the browser for larger font default, like you could in any desktop. People who are, older like me have a little hard time seeing small fonts might set up their browser for maybe 125% zoom. But again, this is another advantage of this deployment platform is that I don't need to have one app with one setting for all people. It's a browser page, so it can be customized for whoever that user is. Okay. All right. So what else is under the setup? Well, we have visibility of columns. Did you notice in the previous video that when you look at RFID, you might have tags from one industry or another that have certain prefix characters that um, don't match what you're using. So it's not all that uncommon these days to have RFID tags from UPS, FedEx, or maybe even vendors. If you're a distributor, you might see them from manufacturers who got their own RFID tags. Because you control your own RFID tags in an asset tracking program, typically, you can set up whatever you want for a prefix tag to ignore those other tags that might be polluting your environment. Okay, so that's another option there. Um, we'll get into consumption versus inventory later on. Show navbar, you can do that here. It's a simple thing. This gives you more real estate on your Android device to be able to see data. And if you want to get it back, you can just touch the green bar on a touchscreen or mouse over with a PC, and it'll go back to showing the navbar. Case sensitive has to do with the the text search field. And then finally, there is a training mode where you can do whatever you want with the data once it's loaded, and it won't push up to the database when you make a change. But when you're ready to be active, you can just simply check that. And then whenever you make a change, it'll push up to the AssetWorks database and everybody else can see your changes. And you can see theirs. Okay, so that's the setting button here, hamburger button, version control on the bottom. Other things, you have the ability to sort by clicking on a column. Notice the status codes in this are, I think we set this up for 4 different status codes. New means material has been received, but not inventoried. In other words, the database says it was shipped and received, but no one has physically confirmed that. Once they physically confirm that with an inventory, the status will go to inventoried. And if they can't find the material, it'll go to lost. And then once it is um, used or built into that final work zone, the status goes to consumed. And we can also hide consumed items from the display so that we're only focused on the things that we can use. Right? You can select individual rows and then process them via tag searching if you want. What other features do we have? Oh, just general. You've got locations that you can then filter your population of assets by location and sublocation. You can filter them by name. So if I put in bracket, I'll get all of those things regardless of their status level. I'll get all things that have that matching description. It's a global search field, so you could actually emulate the location field as well. Just say I want to look at just that location code or a part number, 1110, whatever. This can be useful if let's say you're supposed to have 15 of this part number, and you know that you've consumed 2 of them, so you can walk over and actually scan the part number, right? You could scan the part number right here and find out how many more am I supposed to have and where are they? Maybe I can borrow one or move it, reassign it, right? Click on the X to close your text field. That's the key basics here. If you do have a lot of information that spills over into more than one page, you've got built-in pagination. You also have a status item here. So if I do, once again, I'll pick a different location. It'll tell me that I've got 9 items out of a total of 129. Now this could probably going to be 10,000 or so, or 100,000. But this will immediately tell you how many you have in this subset that you filtered out. Okay, so I think that's a good starting point here. We're going to go next into, I think, we'll go into inventory mode, and we always start by picking up pulling our initial set of data from the AssetWorks database. It can support multiple segregated project databases. In this case, we just have one, so as soon as I focus on it, it's going to this project and pulling that data. But you could have 10 different projects going on, being served with one database from AssetWorks, and the user can just select which subset of assets they want to concern themselves with via this mobile app.